Hey guys, Yi here with SunBros, and today we are bringing you the long overdue spotlight video on Yi Sun-Shin, the Spirit of Navy, the Korean commander. So obviously we put out the highlight video and the gameplay video quite a while ago, and we've been a little bit behind on this, and we apologize for that. We've been doing tryouts and all kinds of stuff, but without further ado, here's a spotlight video. And guys, this is kind of the reboot of the hero series. We're going to be putting out a lot more of these really soon, so get ready to see those, as well as a brand new series on top 5 tips, so watch out for that too. But without further ado, let's get into the Yi Sun-Shin. Yi Sun-Shin, in my mind, is one of the highest damage dealing ADCs. There is no question about it. I can consistently get into the 40 to 50 percentile damage ranges with him. It's not even that hard. He hits hard. He has weaknesses like everyone else. He's not overpowered, but he can do tons of damage, and he can be extremely potent in the hands of somebody who knows how to use him. So we're going to go over that right now. His first ability is Heavenly Vow, which is kind of a 3-part ability. First, Yi Sun-Shin can choose between his longbow or glaive to attack according to distance in the target, which means that he can do long-range attacks as well as melee attacks with his glaive. Using skills or the glaive to attack imposes a bleeding effect that injures them, causing true damage like a dot, like a damage over time, and slows them down. The last part of his passive is that from time to time he'll get a little turtle ship that appears next to the main base that you can hop on and ride, and it gives you a little bit of a speed boost, and it causes the first person that you use it on, the first ability on, it causes a stun to everyone, to that person and everyone around them, which is really cool, which really makes Yi Sun-Shin, his passive is one of the best passes in the game. He can do so much with it. Next, we have One Wave Sweep. One Wave Sweep is essentially, in layman's terms, is him sweeping his blade forward while jumping backwards. It's a great escape move. It's a great initiate move. It's not like the greatest escape or initiate move in the game, but it's pretty good, and it can be used either way. It's definitely better than not having any way of escaping or initiating at all. It's not really that great at jumping over walls, but it can be effective if you do it just right over some of the small to medium-sized walls. Additionally to doing that, if you hit somebody, it lowers their movement speed for 2 seconds. And when Yi Sun-Shin, like I said, is on the turtle ship, the ship will dash towards a target, dealing a bunch of damage and stunning the person it hits and everyone around him. So I actually really like the first ability. I think it's extremely useful to get the final kill on somebody when they're trying to get away. You can use it to close the distance or to get away and create more distance so you can continue to attack against a melee person who maybe can't get in on you. So it can be really useful in multiple different ways. Next, we have Blood Floods. Now, Blood Floods is one of the best poking abilities in the game. I love to use Blood Floods all game long to poke the enemy heroes as much as I can. What it does is it shoots a piercing arrow, and it deals damage to enemies, and the arrow's damage increases the longer you hold it down. You're like powering it up. It's like you're like powering up the ability, and then you let it go and it gets to full power. If you let it go to full power, it does more damage. And when you hit somebody with that, like the passive says, you create a true damage dot, and they're bleeding, and it causes a bleeding effect, which is awesome. True damage bleeding is amazing, and it's not just great for the fact that they're bleeding true damage, which is awesome. What it also does is, if they try to heal with regen, for example, and the dot's going on, the dot will actually stop regen immediately. So they'll get one tick of regen, and then bam, the dot hits them, and then the regen goes away, so it makes it hard for them to heal when the true damage is going on. It makes it almost impossible. And his last ability is Mountain Shocker. And so how this looks, guys, is that your main base, the main nexus or whatever you want to call it, turns into a giant turtle dragon ship. And when you hit your ult, it shoots 3 bursts of mortar shots or cannon shots or whatever. Oh, it says fire arrows, and on all the enemy heroes in the game. It's a global ult that does a lot of damage when it hits, and it does splash damage, so it could hit more than one target if they're close together, and it causes that bleed effect pretty awesomely. So let me tell you how this kind of gets used in the best way. So if you're in, your team initiates a team fight, you want to cast this thing right from the get-go on a team fight, because more than likely in a team fight scenario, the enemies, the team fight's going on, everyone's going to kind of be bunched up, so you could potentially hit some of these enemies with more than one shot, so they, because they're so close together. Number one. Number two, you're just gonna deal a ton of damage right off the bat in that team fight, and they're gonna be bleeding, which means they won't be able to heal effectively. So you really are like tilting that team fight in your team's favor. So it's a great move to use at the beginning of team fights, number one. Number two, it's a great ability to use if you really damage someone but maybe weren't able to finish them off. It's really hard to avoid Yi Sun-Shin's ult, the little circles. So if they're really low and they got away from you, hit that ult, and hopefully you'll get them with one or two of the shots and finish them off. And lastly, remember the cooldown starts at 60 seconds, but if you get some cooldown reduction items, like I like to do a lot of times, you'll be able to cast it more frequently than you'd think. So I actually like if I'm backing and I have the cooldown up, I'll hit the cooldown, because by the time I back, I get healed up, I get my mana back, and I walk back into lane or back into the team fight situations, it'll be really close to getting back in. I don't always do that, but it's kind of a nice little practice. And then lastly, and the last way to use it is to keep a really good eye on the map. If you have a second, look around on the map at all the enemy heroes that you have in your vision, or if you see a team fight going on with your teammates, hit it. Hit that ult and give your teammates a bit of an edge in that fight, get an assist, or maybe pick up a kill even. I mean, this is a global ult that hits all enemies, even if they're in bushes. If they're in bushes hiding and you hit them with this ult, it exposes them. So then you can see where all the enemies are on the map. This thing has like endless uses, and it does a ton of damage, and it causes a bleed effect of true damage. I mean, it is easily one of the best ults in the game. Super, super awesome, and makes his kit incredible. Now, having said all that stuff, and talked about the ultimate and all the things it can do, let me tell you a little bit about Yi Sun-Shin's gameplay. It's phenomenal. Yi Sun-Shin is one of the best ADCs in the game because he does a ton of damage. He's got great scaling off of his auto attacks as an ADC, and if a couple of enemies get up close on you, you can hit them with a couple of auto attacks with your glaive, and that causes a slow. It causes true damage. And remember, when you do melee attacks at close range with two people, you actually hit both of them. You have a cleave effect, so you hit both enemies. So in a scenario where maybe you're going 1v2, for example, and two enemies are jumping on you, you're shooting from a distance and they get up on you, you do a couple of those auto attacks, you start the bleeding effect, you hit them both with each attack, and then you use your one wave sweep to jump back. You now got all this bleed damage on them. You've made distance because now they're slowed. I mean, it's just like his kit is really, really, really good, guys. And I really enjoy playing him. His boat is a huge addition to what he's capable of doing, and I think that you guys will really like him. I would honestly recommend for Yi Sun-Shin to be a part of every marksman's arsenal. And I think that you guys are really going to enjoy playing him and start to understand how to knock out all that damage. As far as combos, Yi Sun-Shin doesn't really have any combos. He's a marksman still, so you just kind of use the abilities as you need to create advantages in those fights. Like I said, one wave sweep, the first ability, is one of the ways you do that to close the gap or to create yourself more space against melee heroes. Blood floods is great, and what I really use that for is I just use it to keep poking and poking and poking, and so by the time that we actually get into a fight, you're way less health than I am, and I have a huge advantage over you. And obviously I discussed the major advantages that the ult has, but overall I give Yi Sun-Shin 2 thumbs up. I love his toolkit, I love the way he plays, and I think he is an extremely underrated ADC in today's game, and he can put out insane amounts of damage and really be a huge difference maker for a team. That's all for this one, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and please, as always, share the videos. Sharing the videos, guys, is one of the best things you can do to help grow our channel and to help support us. We are obviously getting near that 1,000 sub mark, and we're really pushing hard towards it, and we really appreciate all the help that you guys have given us on that. And as always, comment below. We love to talk about everything, but let's talk about Yi Sun-Shin, what you guys like about him, what you don't like about him. Is he overpowered, whatever. Let's talk about the hero. We love talking with you guys in the comment section. And if you guys want to become a part of the SunBros community, let me know, and we'll get you invites to the Discord community, the SunBros channel there, where we have people on 24/7 playing together, chatting, helping each other become better. It's a really good time. But as always, guys, till next time.